Hi, I'm Dan Chambers of Chambers Law Firm. Thank you for joining us in what is now episode 9 of this series of the anatomy of a criminal case. As I stated in episode 8, we've covered a lot of ground, and now we're to the topic of expert witnesses. Now listen, there's an expert out there for almost anything you can imagine. Everything from determining the cause of why somebody died to what type of plant is grown in a particular area of a field. There are experts literally for anything that you can imagine. So, with all of those options out there, you say to yourself, do I even need any? And if I do, who do I need? Well, again, because we are now on step 9, you've done a lot of homework. You and your attorney have looked at the discovery, you've evaluated the weaknesses in the case, you've done the preliminary hearing, you've issue spotted all of the different weaknesses, and now it's time to figure out, do I need an expert witness? Now, I'm not saying you wait until after your preliminary hearing. Let me be clear about that. Sometimes a client walks in the door, they tell me their case, and I immediately know, for example, they will need an accident reconstructionist. I had a client come in last week that was involved in a very bad traffic accident that involved a fatality. He was arrested and charged with a vehicular manslaughter. Well, having done many of those over the years, I knew immediately he was going to need an expert to evaluate the accident, how it happened, why it happened, to help him try to establish he wasn't responsible for causing the death of the other driver. So sometimes it's very obvious who you need. Other times it takes a little bit of factual development to figure out what type of experts you need. So the one important thing to know is that there is the potential that you will need one in almost every case. Consult with your lawyer carefully. Make sure that you understand the cost involved. These people are experts for a reason. They're usually really smart and they know their stuff, and consequently they're very expensive. So make sure that you talk thoroughly with your lawyer about what type of experts he or she thinks you might need and what the cost of those experts is going to be, because it can run very, very high, sometimes even more expensive than the attorney that you end up hiring. So make sure that you understand what that expert's being asked to do and what the cost of it will be, because again, you can think of an expert for almost any case that comes in the door that might need or benefit from the services of an expert. I tell you that just so that it's on your checklist, that when you sit down with your attorney, you sit down with my firm, and we discuss it, that you're already prepared. You know why experts are needed, how much they cost, what they can do for you. So make sure that's part of your checklist when you're discussing with your attorney the merits of your case and what can be done to show that you are not guilty. Thank you.